Okay, and we are back. Let's go ahead and start connecting this now to the airplane. You remember, if we're going to be able to bridge, first let's get out of edit mode and get back into object mode. We'll select this object and that object, okay? And then we're going to right click and join. Remember, we have to do that if we're going to bridge. And then another thing that's good to remember is come in here, right? Set that, and then show face orientation. Of course, it's not going to do, is it because we're in X-ray? Yeah, sure enough, it was because we were in X-ray. Okay, so now you can see that our normals are good right now as it stands to combine that to the airplane. So we can go ahead and turn that back off, and we'll go back into hardware shading, and we can see that we're good to go currently on that. I will shift middle mouse drag over to pan. Now, for right now, I don't need the blueprints, but now we're just connecting geometry. All right, so we're gonna be selective about how we do this here. So right now, I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to hit 2 on the keyboard, so we're in edge select. We're gonna go edge to edge, edge to edge. Trying to decide if I like how that geometry is gonna wind up. I don't think I do. I think we're gonna go edge to edge, then edge to edge. Okay, and then we're gonna have that separation. So for right now, we're going to do that. Let's just go ahead and do it. Let's bridge, and we have bridged that. Then we're going to go from here to here, and here to here. Do the same thing again, bridge. All right. And you can see what that leaves me with is it leaves me with this four-sided kite at the end, which isn't really violating any rules. So we're going to grab an edge, skip an edge, grab an edge. Then we're going to bridge. And this is not really ideal for this condition. We'll probably find a better way to resolve that. But for right now, it gets us somewhere, okay? So for right now, until I have a little bit of time to think about how to really figure that out, we're good. Now we're going to also bridge this back shut back here. We'll right click, bridge. So now we're at the point where we're going to start to separate this from the body. I have to consider, ooh, I might be lying. I need to look at the orthographic views just to remind myself where that all happens. Yeah, I am lying to you. Okay, how about I not do that? We are going to bridge one more polygon over. So let's do them both at the same time. Let's start doing them more efficiently where we're doing more than one. Let's go bridge. Now, we're going to start from there. Okay, what's nice is we can also bridge from here to here and close that off. So let's right click and bridge. So now we've closed that off at the back. So what we need to do is we also need to sculpt the wing now a little bit at the rear, and we also need to close it off. All right. So let's look at that. Let's go into top view. So you can see we're going to need another polygon over here, and this is something that we're gonna most likely we're gonna have to creep up on this just a little bit, which is okay. Actually, maybe I'll just delete that face for right now, and we'll come back to that. All right. I have somebody grinding in the back there. It's a pleasant noise. All right. So let's go ahead. We will go into edge select. Let's go into top view. Let's do an extrude. Click, and then let's bring this out. Okay. And we've got to decide how we're going to start to resolve this. Let's go ahead and go into vertex mode. Let's bring this around. And okay. All right, so let's go ahead now. We will also, for right now, we're going to bridge between this edge and this edge. Okay, I'm going to right click and say bridge edge loops. And then we will add, again, one more cut. So we have that cut in the center. And then let's go ahead and sculpt that edge a little bit. Okay, we'll probably have to modify that a little bit later, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, and then we have to decide again, are we going to do the kite over here? Which I think I might leave the kite on this one because it's not violating anything, and we'll see how it smooths out at the end. And we can talk again about a few different ways to do that. We could do like we did at the end here, where we just fuse those verts, but that might give us a little bit tighter corner right there without having to modify it too much. Let's go back into object mode, and you can see here when we combined it, the order in which we joined those two parts got rid of our subdivision surface modifier. And we can see right now the corner that gives us is pretty nice. And I could show you if we did it the other way, we'd wind up with a much larger corner. And I think for right now, I'm going to stick with what we got. All right, I'm going to come back on the levels. All right. And then why don't we look ultimately at our photo reference again on this? So let's come in here and look at this. So you can see we have a little bit of a flat spot. So it runs to the airplane and then kind of tears away. And it's not necessarily flat. This is kind of an intricate shape here. And I don't know if we'll get that fancy with it, but it's interesting to note how that's being done. All right. So let's come back here again. And you can see that technically now what we're going to wind up with, let's go into edit mode again. Let's go to vertex select, which is number 1. We will grab those. We will move these out. Oops. Let's go into top view to do that. All right. According to that, we're already there. I must not be in X-ray mode. Let's go ahead and bring that. And maybe what I'll do ultimately is sculpt these a bit to make them a little bit more normal, meaning normal to the surface, not normal as in regular. I think I'll be more consistent to the rear like that. Maybe we'll relieve this edge just a smidge. Make the bevel on there a little stronger. Let's take these for right now, and we know it kind of mimics the shape of the airplane up until that point, and then begins to tear away. Why don't we imagine that happening, and we'll re-sculpt these out just a little bit, make them look a little more consistent. Looks pretty good, not perfect, but decent. All right, and we have to find some clever way to close this all off in the back. All right, we've got to take, let's look at this now. Let's go back into top view, or top view. All right, let's look at that. So we know that it actually crept up on here a little bit. I don't know if I'll worry about that at this level that we're doing this. I'll probably just find a way to close this all off as it is right now. And maybe what I'll do to get this edge to be consistent, let's try this. I'm going to bridge here. I'm going to right click and I'll say bridge, and I'll show you a trick I use sometimes. I'm going to grab that edge and extrude click, and I'm just going to drag it out. Now it's just going to be a sacrificial polygon. That's a concept I want to show you guys that I'm sure I haven't talked about yet. So I'm going to delete this space, and that gives me something to bridge to. Okay, why might I need that? Well, how about I start to close this, and then I'll show you where I'm going with that. All right, let's go ahead and let's go to edge select. I'll grab this one. We will bridge, and we will add a division. Okay, I will select that edge. I will come out. I will go into vertex mode, which is number 1 on the keyboard, right click, and we'll say merge vertices to center. So now that's a single vert. All right. And then ultimately, what I need to consider doing now is how to close all of this off. And so again, I'm faced with a lot of possibilities in my jigsaw puzzle. And as I'm talking to you right now, I'm thinking about how I'll tackle this. I think maybe what I'll do is I will do a cut. So let's go to edge. Let's do a loop cut and slide, and we'll do it for right there. We'll just hit enter. That'll put it right in the middle. Okay, and then now, let me decide. Yep, I think what I'll do for right now, just for closing it, and then we'll try to think of a better way potentially to do this. I'm going to bridge. All right, then I'm going to grab one, miss one, bridge. Okay, and then we have a four-sider over here as well. Grab, bridge. And then ultimately, I'll probably take this vertex here and then sculpt that a little better at the end. But then now you can see how we didn't actually need this polygon here for right now. We don't need this. So that's what I meant by it was sacrificial. It was just there to get us going on the sculpting at the rear, and then we'll throw it in the trash because we don't really ultimately need it. So now that's all technically four-sided, and we have closed off the wing. Let's go ahead and add a couple of divisions here. Let's go back into object mode, and let's turn off X-ray. Let's turn off overlays, and let's go into the hardware mode. It's shading a little funny for right now, but I wonder if we've got an issue with the orientation of some of these. No, they're all oriented correctly. Look there. Maybe we got a face that we don't want. All right. And it's great for you guys to see this stuff because this is the kind of thing that's going to haunt you on your own projects. I think we got it. Let's turn that back off. And it's still shading funny, but we'll look into that as we go. But now you can see we're starting to even now get the beginnings of this cockpit and cowl shape up here. All right, let's move over. And then ultimately next we're going to build what we're going to build next will be the rudder on the back and maybe that little piece of that little nub that holds the rear wheel. All right, but why don't we do this one more time beforehand? Let's, we're in edit mode right now. Let's be in object mode. All right, let's go ahead and re-enable our overlays and turn off face orientation and go back into hardware shade. And now let's go ahead and re-mirror all of this over. Let's go into edit mode. We'll go to face, it's number 3, we're already there. We're going to grab everything except for that polygon running up the middle. I might have to do this carefully as we go and not just globally grab. Okay, select those. Select that one, that one, that one, that one. Those ones. All right, getting close. We're grabbing all those ones on that side of the airplane. Grab that one, looking good. Why don't we go ahead and grab these two? I think we've got them all. Oh, I see one straggler. Okay, I think we may have it. We can always grab more and delete them at the end otherwise, so for right now it's looking pretty good. Hit delete faces, and it looks like we got it all. And then now we're going to have to separate out everything we don't want to copy, or maybe we'll just grab everything we do want to copy. I'm holding down Control to get rid of things I'm selecting. Okay. So now I've selected everything except the center, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say separate selection. So now that's its own object. I'll go back to object mode. Okay, click that. And then don't forget on the pivot point, all right, we're going to have to individual origins maybe, and then let's go 3D cursor. Yep, and that puts us at the universe 0. And let's not forget too, we've got to be careful because right now we might have something in our transform node So again, we're going to say apply and all transforms, which is going to make that mirror correctly. And then lastly, we're going to duplicate it, right? And then right click, and then say mirror Y global. And there we have it. Look at that. Got the other half of the airplane for free. So now let's go ahead and join that all back up together again. So join. So now it's one object, and then we're going to have to merge the vertices again, because remember, they're separate islands of stuff. So we're going to go into edit mode, grab all the verts, and then we're going to right click, and we're going to say merge by distance. And remember, the distance that works out pretty good is 0.001, and then that's that. And then now let's see if we've accidentally made any of the vertices kind of off in terms of, you know, did it mess us up? And we already know what's going to happen, don't we? What did we do again? We're going to have that problem with the normals, I imagine. So let's go back to software shading, and let's turn back on face orientation. And you can see, I don't know why it's not showing as blue now. It wants to always make us miserable. But I guarantee that's what's going on, is we have to come in here now and flip all those faces. So let's just go ahead and do it. We're going to go into edit mode, faces, and I probably should have done it before I went and merged it all together, but again, sometimes it's good to see where some of the pain points are that we do. So let's go ahead and select again all of the stuff leading up to that. We got a couple here. We got one there. Got one there. We got this one here. All right, and then let's right click. Oh, that's not, I don't think that's in this menu. It would be cool if it was there, but it is in, let me remember where it's at. UV, no, face. Mesh, normals, flip. And there we go. It looks like I've got a couple here I didn't catch, and you'll see there's still light color to the rest. I'll do those real quick. Mesh, normals, flip. All right. And we've got these ones here too. And you'll see that they're a different shade. They're brighter. And we will again go mesh, normals, flip. And that way we're making sure that all our vertices point in the right direction. It looks like we've got something going on there we'll deal with in a bit. But that should potentially get us there. Let's get back out of that mode. Let's turn off overlays for right now. And oh, very nice. What I would like to do, go into hardware shade. This should be interesting again. Let's go here and let's set the alpha to 1. And I always find this an interesting result. We get this completely bizarre result. And I wonder what happens if I turn off that. Let's just go to opaque. It's still showing some of the objects as having that. I see we've got 2 materials. Maybe that's why. There we go. We had 2 materials applied to the object. So now we've just got the single material applied. Okay, and then let's go back in here. And we're getting closer and closer and closer and closer to an airplane. And it's going to get to the point where it's going to be more an issue of sculpting. We've still got an issue back here. What's going on here? So let's go look at that. But let's turn back on our overlays. I don't see any issues that way. So probably what's happened is we've gotten some vertices that have moved off that weren't perfectly symmetrical, and you can actually see them here. And let's go ahead and go into edit mode and fix that. So we will go here, we will grab that vertice, and we will move it. have somehow broken our move tool. Oh, that's why we're way over there. Local cursor. Nope. It is active element. All right. Again, I appreciate you tolerating me being unfamiliar completely with Blender. All right, so let's go to that one because we know that the piece of, oh no, actually maybe I should do this the other way. I'm gonna, you know what, I like to show you guys different ways to tackle a project, so why don't we do this one a little differently, just to make sure we're symmetrical. Let's get rid of those three faces, and instead what we'll do is we'll just rebridge, because we know that that was a perfect mirror when we made it, and we'll see, maybe we have to chase one more poly, but I don't think so. Bridge edge loop. All right, then let's go back in and see if that fixed it. Yeah, that was it. Okay, so what would, that sort of begs the question of what exactly happened there. All right, so let's talk about that. So what happened in that instance, let's turn off our overlays. What happened there was that we had a couple of vertices from the center strip that had gotten slightly moved off of being completely symmetrical. And because of that, they didn't fall into the vertex tolerance that we were looking for, and it looks like we're getting the problem in other areas as well. So this is the kind of stuff that creeps up on you when you're modeling, and you just have to tolerate it and deal with it as you can. So let's go ahead and fix that. Let's turn back on our overlays, and let's see what's going on here, all right? Now when we did this, this was not originally part of it, if I remember correctly. So why don't we just go ahead and we'll rebridge these. So let's go into edit mode. Let's go on face select. We'll get rid of these. Actually, which would be the ones that wouldn't be symmetrical? Would be these ones. Stop that. And again, as long as you get it to work, whichever one you do, it's not going to be the end of the world. I'm just trying to be careful about which ones I picked and think about which ones are probably not symmetrical. And we know everything we copied over on the left side was symmetrical, which means the center part was probably the piece that wasn't perfect. So we'll bridge that, and let's go back in and add in some more loops. And we're still having one more problem, so we got to chase that a little bit more. All right. And let's just go ahead. And I guarantee you the problem's hiding in here somewhere. So let's go ahead. We'll go to vertex select. All right. And then I'm going to right click. And then I'll say dissolve. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. This must be one oh, I see it. There she is. Okay. So this is the one that's not proper. So let's move those on top of each other, and then we'll say merge at center. And there you go. So now let's see if we conquered it. And looks like maybe we did. All right, let's turn off overlays. And there you have it. We have a little bit of a lump there because we have some sculpting to do. And we already know that because we haven't done this area of the cockpit yet. But we'll get there. And we also have a hole here that we have to fix. So let's go ahead and we'll also address that. And you can see now we're getting into just completing our jigsaw puzzle. Let's go into edge select. Let's turn back on our overlays. Let's go from that edge to that edge. Let's bridge. Okay, because we didn't do the one on that side. And there we go, we have that. Let's get back out. And then let's add in some divisions again. And look at that. And we keep on finding little anomalies and fixing and closing and eradicating the weirdnesses in there. Okay. So we are getting close. Next thing, let's start putting on the rudder on the rear, the tail. All right, I think that was absolutely plenty for one video. There was a lot of troubleshooting. There were a lot of like, here are little anomalies that are going to show up. And we're getting closer and closer to finishing our airplane. All right, we will leave it there for right now. Thanks.